During the Horus Heresy and following the Battle of Kalth, and with the torrential Ruinstorm raging, blocking out the light of the Astronomicon and causing warp travel to be all but impossible, the Imperium was effectively cut in half. The Dark Angels came to the realization that they were unable to return to Terra to assist in its defense, even with the use of the two-Chulcha engine. Miraculously, they managed to lock onto the beacon of the strange alien device known as the Pharaohs on the world of Sotha, which guided the First Legion fleet safely through the warp and to the realm of Ultramar's capital world of Macragge. There, they were greeted by Rupert Guilliman and Sanguinius, whose Blood Angels Legion was also guided to the realm of Ultramar by the Pharaohs. The three Primarchs were instrumental in the foundation of the Imperium Secundus, as a means of continuing the fight against the traitors and securing the Emperor's great work. Guilliman proclaimed Sanguinius as the rightful heir to the Emperor and declared him the new ruler of Imperium Secundus. Lionel Johnson was made the Lord Protector of this new empire of humanity and Supreme Commander over all its military forces, a title that was similar to that of War Master. So how come that Sanguinius and the Blood Angels made it to Terra before the Siege of Terra, while the Ultramarines and the Dark Angels did not? And that's what we are about to find out. The foundation of Imperium Secundus was marred when Curze escaped from the Invincible Reason and rampaged across Macragge, intent on spreading as much terror and chaos as he could. But eventually both Guilliman and the Lion confronted the cornered Curze. The attempts to kill him were unsuccessful, as the Night Lord's Primarch had laid a cunning trap. He brought down an entire chapel upon the two Primarchs through the use of planted explosives and fled the scene. Guilliman and the Lion were only saved through the direct intervention of the loyalist Iron Warrior's warsmith Barbarous d'Antioch, who was communicating with Guilliman at the time of the attack through a portal that was opened by the Pharaohs. On instinct, the warsmith reached through the portal and pulled the two Primarchs to safety on Sotha. During an attack on the city of Almamons, the Lion finally cornered the elusive Night Lord's Primarch, and the two came to blows. After a brutal confrontation, the Lion eventually emerged victorious and questioned his brother why he had turned away from the Emperor, to which Curze simply replied, "Why not?" Curze went on to explain that there was a monster in his head that he could not stop. Though he finally had Curze at his mercy, the Lion couldn't bring himself to kill his brother and instead pummeled him again. He then ripped off Curze's backpack from his battle plate, lifted him over his head and brutally brought the Night Haunter down across his knee, breaking Curze's spine and paralyzing him. The Lion brought the grievously wounded Conrad Curze before Sanguinius and Guilliman to stand trial. Later, the three Primarchs led the legions attempting to breach the Ruinstorm and reach Terra to defend the Emperor, now that they know he still lived. Once in the Ruinstorm, the combined Loyalist fleet came across a variety of war-born horrors and ward of an entity spreading destruction known as the Pilgrim. Not even the two-Chulcha engine proved capable of navigating the Ruinstorm, which frustrated the Lion. During the Battle of Piran, L. Johnson commanded Dark Angels Astartes as Sanguinius received a vision and realized that he needed to go where the Horus Heresy had truly begun, the world of Davin. Through an exhausting journey, they eventually reached Davin, the nexus of the continuing Ruinstorm in real space, and engaged a vast demonic host, on and above the world, in what would be remembered as the Second Battle of Davin. Reluctantly, Rupert Guilliman and the Lion agreed to trust in Sanguinius, but both had thought to simply destroy the hated world upon arriving from orbit. After the fleet emerged over Davin, Sanguinius shocked L. Johnson by boarding the Invincible Reason and taking the still captive Conrad Curze with him. Sanguinius hoped to use Curze's prophetic abilities to determine what he was meant to do upon Davin that could help to save the Emperor. Sanguinius commanded a mass ground assault on the world, and the enraged Lion nearly ordered that Davin be subjected to an exterminatus action regardless of Sanguinius' presence upon it. At the last moment, L. Johnson relented and was immediately horrified by what he had nearly done. He realized that some external power was attempting to force the Primarch down the path to damnation, and he followed Sanguinius down to the service of Davin. On that dusty world, Sanguinius was trapped within a portal to the warp and did battle with the demon Madail, while Guilliman and the Lion desperately tried to reach him. A vicious battle erupted both on Davin and above it in the void, where Guilliman's acting flagship Samothrace was destroyed in orbit by the demon ship Veritas Ferrum. During the ground battle at Davin's infamous Temple of the Serpent Lodge, where Horus had first been corrupted by chaos, Guilliman and El Johnson managed to finally fight as partners and brothers. Together, they brought down a massive soul grinder demon engine. Eventually, Sanguinius was able to escape, and the Space Marine forces evacuated the world to orbit. Davin was destroyed by cyclonic torpedoes, and with its anchor in real space gone, the demonic fleet vanished back into the Imperium, and where Davin had once been, a breach in the Ruinstorm was now visible. The path, though, led directly to Terra, but upon further study, it became apparent that Horus had foreseen that this route to Terra might open for the Loyalists, and had blocked it with a gauntlet of multiple traitor fleets. Guilliman and the Lion agreed to distract the blockade, while Sanguinius and the Blood Angels fleet made directly for Terra, for that was their destiny. Sanguinius and the Blood Angels fleet then raced directly for Terra through the opening, as was their destiny in Sanguinius' precognitive visions, while Guilliman and Lionel Johnson led the ultramarines and Dark Angel legions in diversionary attacks against the traitor fleets that allowed the Blood Angels to slip through the cordon. By the time the siege of Terra began, the Lion hoped to draw traitor forces away from the throne world by striking at their own legion homeworlds. As a result, the Dark Angels destroyed several traitor homeworlds, such as Chemos of the Emperor's Children and Barbarous of the Death God, acts that the Lion would come to relish. At some point before or during the siege of Terra, the Astronomicon went dark for the Dark Angels fleet. Fearing that Terra had fallen to Horus, El Johnson became nihilistic, and instead of moving towards Terra, pledged himself to vengeance through the destruction of as much of the traitor's territory as he could. Using the rationalization of attacking the traitor homeworlds in hopes of drawing reinforcements away from Terra to his troops, El Johnson oversaw the destruction of Chemos and Barbarous in a spiteful purge dubbed the Passage of the Angels. Without the Astronomicon, the Dark Angels continued to rely on the two-Chulcha engine for guidance through the warp. The Lion eventually ordered the Dark Angels fleet to head to Deliverance, the homeworld of the Raven Guard Legion, where Corvus Corax and Leman Russ of the Space Wolves legions were currently mustering their forces. The Lion was quick to question Corax's absence from the major fronts of the war, but his wrath was quickly extinguished by Russ, who pointed out that the Space Wolves' own survival was still an asset of great worth, even if Terra remained beyond their reach. Russ declared he would join El Johnson's so-called Crusade of Vengeance, including his Space Wolves warriors equipped with the new suit of Mark IV Corvus power armor produced on Kiava. Yet Corax was cautious to commit his badly mauled legion to what he saw as a needlessly spiteful waste of resources for a purely emotional gain, and only assigned a small expeditionary force of the Raven Guard to accompany the Space Wolves and the Dark Angels. Eventually, the Dark Angels made course for Terra on the Lion's command, but arrived too late to influence the outcome of the Siege of Terra or prevent the Emperor from being mortally wounded by Horus and interred on the Golden Throne. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay tuned for more.